Good evening. Well, Frog, I'm afraid, doing a Ken Doyle impersonation. Here's the welcome to the smartEqpro. This is a pretty awesome little mount. I'll just whiz you through what's what on it. And I've got a tripod here. It's pretty standard. This tripod, I've put a load of Velcro bits down the legs for the express. So there, my hands. When you're out in the field at night or when it's dark, having bits of Velcro here and there and everywhere is brilliant for sticking the handset and odds and sods on. The actual mount itself, the head unit, we've replaced this screw here from an ordinary, the one supplied, and now it's got a screw in that we can tighten or loosen with an Allen key. It seems a bit brutal. Let's get rid of my friend in there and take my glass off because I've been out the back. Seems a bit brutal, but to be quite frank with you, the ones supplied, these round ones, they're just not man enough for the job. So it's quite, and it really does need to be quite tight. You know, in the day you're putting a lot of gear on here, and I could never get it tightened up. And I've got a friend who's got one of these mounts, and he's done exactly the same thing. Suits yourself. And I've also replaced the azimuth bolts here as well. It's a bit bolder and a bit more, you know, in the dark, you want to be there, you know, ready to go. Feeling around for little bolts, little nuts that don't do up on one thing is awesome. So what we've got then, we've got the actual mount head unit itself. Pretty bog standard. Just turn it around that way for a sec. On one side, okay. This side, it's got HBX. Read that as handset. This, I can't look at. That's an SD guide port for guiding. It doesn't do pulse guiding, this mount, so you need if you're going to guide, you just need a cable. I'll show you. We'll get to that later. We'll come back to that one. Handset, as I say, I'll stick it on there. On the other side, so everyone looks at this, we've got power in there and the on-off switch. We've got two battery compartments. There's no batteries in at the moment, but it will run off batteries quite well. Never done it myself. So I've got, just 2 seconds. Weighs an absolute ton. No, it doesn't, honest. Go to Whole Worts and buy one of these jump starter thingy. This is what I'm running it off of most of the time. It's quite often on charge as well, so that'll keep you going all night. And also on the leg of the mount, I bought a little 3-way you can just see this here, a 3-way cigarette adapter. This one's actually made by Tesla or somebody like that. It's quite a handy thing. I've just clipped it on with a couple of cable ties. So setting the thing up, basically, then there's no rocket science involved. We have a little screw thread here to do you undo it, and the declination. The declination on this is so you can get your the head declination right. It's always it is a bit, it takes a bit getting used to, in that it's always such an awkward thing. But once it's set, you're fine. It won't be far off on it. There is a gauge to the other side, but nobody needs that. You don't need it anyway, because it's all about getting lined up with Polaris, which we'll come to in a minute. So that's that. We've got a weight, counterweight on the end. This goes up and down. It's not the original thread screw on the end. Well, it might be, but it doesn't work. So I put a little brass washer on, which nothing worse than that coming down and going off somewhere horrible. But other than that, that's fine. This part does come down a bit, extends, so you can obviously get a better counterbalance, better counterweight. Don't really need the weight on there. I pushed it up because if I'm going to move it, I don't want to put any pressure on it, so it's easier to show you what's what. So we switch it on. Next thing we need to worry about, polar aligning. So first off, when you're out in the garden, one of the things always a handy little compass. I tend to put the compass on the stand, obviously keeping it away, watch out for anything magnetic. Then I can move, get pretty close to the north. And the other thing I've got in my pocket, always a handy thing to have, is a little level, little triangular one. This is. I tend to put that on there, and then try and get the whole shooting match as level, as possibly slipping on this floor, as level as I can. I'll just do a push down if I'm on the grass or whatever, so that it's nice and solid, ain't going to move, and away we go. And the first thing you need to do out in the field is polar align, obviously. Now, depending on your agility and how fit you are, being an ancient old timer, I'm not that keen on it. Keep bending down and getting up. But the polar scope is here, and obviously once you're north, what I tend to do is I'll move the thing. If I draw a line with my hand, if I'm stood up and I draw a line up like this between me and Polaris, I can get it pretty good. So you just want it, don't know, spot on, but get an imaginary sort of line between you and Polaris in the centre of the mount. You'll find you won't be far off. And once you've done that, we have to look through our little polar scope, and the polar inside the reticle is very good clock face for getting Polaris in position. That's awesome thing. One of the things, if you've got one, or you can order one, I'll tell you where to get it. Let's get this isn't a Seagull. This is a newer. I've got it offline somewhere. You can pop these on. They just tighten up over over the top, over the end, and you can look through and get a really good view without breaking your neck and contorting your body all over the place. So that's a good buy if you can find one. I can also put some links to that, or you can ask me. They're not mega dear, they're not mega cheap, but they're not mega dear. I used to use a seagull that I had lying around, a seagull right angle viewer for my camera, and sort of wangled a clamp or glued it on, you know. But that's a pucker one for it. One thing you will sometimes, this is important, is when you look through here and you think, oh, I can't see it, it's black, it's solid. The reason is that you have to get the RA of the scope in the right position, because as it turns, then it covers up the hole that the polar scope's looking through. So all you need to do is, quite simply, if you stand up and look through there, you'll see it, because it will go right through to the floor. So you just need to make sure it's center, and then you just move the RA on the handset and the whole thing moves. I won't do it because it is actually set on the back here. Where's the back? Can't see on the camera. On the back of this of the unit itself, you won't be able to see it on the camera, but just here there are two little lines, you know, ridges built into the mount, and the head, the puck that your telescope's in, that you're only going to get those lined up, and that is spot on then. Well, as near as makes no difference. Those are the major things there. So once you've done that, then it's all about polar alignment. Now, one of the things you can get, and I would, okay, it's a lot of money, but eventually at some point is to get, there is an adapter available. It's a lot of dosh, but if you're serious, one of these little Polemaster mount cameras, and that just sort of, there's an adapter that fits in here, and this fits on there, and then all your polar alignment routines is done using the laptop. Works really well. What else do we need to say? Nothing really. Obviously, to polar align, then you undo the declination. It's a little undo that, and then it's just tighten, loosen this while you're looking through the scope, and then you'll obviously there's a scale here, so you can get it near enough. I think I'm 50.44. So once you get it near enough, then it's all down to looking through here through the polar scope to get Polaris. And for our, that's the declination one. For the azimuth, whatever that word is, I just think of it as left and right. In actual fact, when you're doing polar alignment, azimuth is up and down. That's how it tends to work. You just need to undo the lock-in clamp on between the mount head and the tripod, and then just slacken it off gently. Doesn't need to be very. Just loosen it off, and then you've got these lovely juicy bolts, and you won't. And just move it to get the Polaris in the right position on the clock face within the polar scope itself. The power unit sounds a bit Heath Robertson. I think it's on the floor, but I usually put a piece of tape over, not tape, an elastic band or a bungee across here, because the last thing you want, once you've set up and everything's aligned, is for the power to pull out, and it has happened to me once or twice. So I'd recommend just an elastic band usually on here. Of course, the cable, so it ain't going anywhere. Then hair bands are good. If you've got, they're best things for astronomers that I know of. Ladies' hair bands. Next stage. Well, what we could do is our telescope. Just go straight into here. It's just a little demo one. Just clamp it in and screw it off over there. That's very straightforward. At the top here, there are two. You'll see there's this black knob at the top here. I've yet to discover what it does. Tighten this thing up or extra, so might as well do it. But there is a debate as to what it actually does. That I think it's sort of a safety. No, it's not safety. It's just a bloody screw that's there, and nobody knows why. Somebody. But as I say, doing this one up nice and is the proper one. But using an Allen key is the way to go. That's sorted. Let's see. I've got a telescope here, but it's a bit heavy. Just 2 seconds. What we have got, hiding over here, is a nice big juicy Tascom lens on a. So that will tighten up on there. Obviously, I haven't got one on here at the moment, but camera fits neatly on there. Nice and tight. Got a camera. Little camera. It's got a lens on it. 2 seconds. Take that lens off. So well. There we go. We've now got a camera on there. So we've got polar. So let's think about this. We've got our little gizmo with polar aligned. We're quite happy with that. We've got our camera on here. What's our next task? Polar alignment. So we're in line with Polaris as best we can be. So the next thing is to polar align them out. Within the handset, press the menu. Go to menu. Select and slew the top one. 4th one down. Just says align. Toggle down to align. Hit enter. We don't want polar aligned. There's solar system align. 1-star alignment is what I tend to use as a rule. We'll go to multi-star for now. You need to know what stars are what. He's asking for Aldebaran, but I know that's way over there, so that's miles. Alcade, which is just up there where this mount's pointing at the moment. So if I hit an enter, it'll go off and find that in the flag. So once we get there, and if you're using a DSLR like I am here, try and get one, and it's got an articulated back. So let me turn this round. Let me turn it on. It's got an articulated display. We could quite easily have a look, click it, and use the display to just get the star that you're looking at, or in this case the one that I'm aligning to, Alcade, to the centre of our screen, and you can use the zoom to get it into there. So just live view it for one, and then just simply left and right. It's on a high speed. Once it's set to change the speed of the mount, as it's, you just press one of the numerical keys. 5 or 6 is usually just plenty. If you hit that, it will stay, and you can just sort of gently move it. And once you've got it, that star in the centre of your field of view there, hit enter. This is the beauty of using a DSLR, because you don't need to spot and scope really if you can get it fairly close. If I choose another star, so you need to look at something like, if you load stellarium, we'll come to that in a minute, stellarium on your system, and have a quick look at that build, the sky that you're looking, where you're looking at, then you can see where the relative stars, the good stars are, and it'll tell you where they are, so you know. The next one I'm going is Castor. So this is my second multi-star alignment. My second star, I'm going to say, right, off you go, find me Castor, because I've already said enter to Alked. So hit the enter key, it should go off over there. Not too far. If anything goes wrong while it's doing this, just keep your finger gently on the back key. If you hit back, it will stop the mount straight away. Right, the telescope falls off or something. Right, Castor, which is just up there as far as I remember. So now the same routine, we hit Castor, it says move it, so I can put on live view if I'm using the DSLR. Failing that, you have to go through a little spot, your spotting scope. Press live view, bit of zoom, and move the scope. I'll put it on 8 so you can see how fast. If I just press the letter 8, number even, 8 on there, the mount will go much quicker. So, and then just use the arrow keys to, you work that out. When you're happy, you think you've got it in the centre of the view, hit enter. With now, it comes up, tells me I've got 2 stars. I can enter to continue, to do another star, or back to complete. So I'll just go back now. And now it says you're on Castor. Woo! So that's that. Sorted. So we could either start photographing our star, or in this case it's a star, but if it's a galaxy, we could be doing that. We can choose deep sky objects on here as well. It's just a matter of getting familiar with the kit handset. I think hit and then select and slew deep sky object. If I go for Bodes, Andromeda Galaxy, that's way over there. I should be able to find Bodes Galaxy, blinking blue. It just goes through alphabetical. California, Cat's Eye, that's way Cocoon. Some of these you have to, it's worth going through. That's what I say, if I've got stellarium, I'll know roughly what's what, otherwise I'll end up aiming for the star, flaming star nebula. That's going to push it over the edge, I think. Trying to find one. Galaxy. I'm really rubbish at this. I'll show you the way I do it by connecting to the computer in a minute. Where do I want to go? Pinwheel Galaxy, that should be over there. So we'll click that one for a minute. One of my favourites. should go up and then up. It's already turning that way. Go quite a way because it's on the end of the cloud. I'm looking north is over there. I think that's getting a bit, definitely not there. Well, obviously my alignment wasn't as good as I thought it was. So next, so once we've finished our shooting, select and slew. Just toggle down to the 0 position, hit enter, and off it'll go back to 0. Back to where those two lines meet, the lines being on here. So that's how far out my star alignment was. Absolutely ridiculous. So it's definitely not in the home position as it should have been. It's not a fault, it's just a fault with me that I didn't. My polar aligning was guesswork. It's running quite slow at the moment. Press number 9 and go a bit faster. I'll help it go back to the home position. Just make sure the lines. The RA was fine, it was the declination that was up the creek. So now it says user position. So if we go to once you get it there on this one, you have to switch it. There. So if I switch the mount off, by default, when you switch it on, it sets it as the home position, which is what I didn't do just now. So once I switch it on, it comes up, it says that's its home position now. So now, the next thing we can do, which is quite a useful thing to know, this cable will come with the thing. So I'll switch it off for 2 secs. And this cable plugs into the handset. Somehow. What do you do with it? That fits in the handset. It's USB, serial to USB converter, which I'm going to plug here straight into the computer. So now when I'll switch it on, don't need to do anything there. We'll do a quick 1-star alignment. I'll just choose Pollux or Castor. So it's menu, toggle down to align, 1-star align. One's cool for this, won't do Alcade, how about that? Which is what makes here. So for now, I'll say that's fine, even though it should be more, should be up a bit. I'll hit enter, so now it thinks it's in, the scope is on Alpay. Our next thing is we'll go from the mount into the computer, close it down. This is so within the computer we have different ASCOM drivers. The one for this one is there. If I double click it, say OK, should the mounts come up, that's fine. Move that over. Now stellarium, no need to set up and running. Well, it's set up, running, but I'm going to close that for a sec. Close stellarium, and what we need to do is download from the Stellarium website. A lot of information here. There is a program called Stellarium Scope. If I can find it online. So, come on, where are you? Got send it somewhere. Yeah, there is. There is. Stellarium Scope. Yeah. So we'll double click that for a sec. Yeah, alright. That's what I was playing with. Now we've got our ASCOM driver open up here, connected to the mount, which is connected to the PC now, my thing. So we've got a drop down box here, select our mount, the ASCOM box comes up, and I'm looking for the driver that I've just loaded, say OK, and then I'll hit this one up here, which is connect. Everything else I've just left as default. Would have shouted by now if it hadn't been up and running. So now we're going to start Stellarium. Hit start Stellarium. That comes up and running. There's only one issue you have to make sure of when you start Stellarium. You like to make sure that it's got a server running. So I'm just brightening the background so that it looks pretty. This is actually my back garden. Bit is this bit here. So Star Wars supposedly align 2 is Alcade. I'll come off a bit at the moment. One of the things you need to make sure of is when you installing Stellarium, let's go into the settings and under plugins, go down to remote control and make sure that you hit configure and the server is enabled, and save that as default as well. 8090 is the port number, that's standard. Otherwise, when you start Stellarium, Stellarium Scope, they won't be in sync between Stellarium Scope and if I close that, start Stellarium from within Stellarium Scope. We should, if not, I'll have to pause the video. We should have. Something not right here. Right, oops. Let's close that down to close that down. You probably wouldn't get this one, but I had to update the Stellarium configuration file and just go through it because it had got corrupt. I might have upgraded Stellarium at some stage, but once that's done, we can connect. And if I start Stellarium now, our mount is connected to our computer, which is talking to stellarium scope, which is controlling stellarium itself. And if I make this a little bit brighter, 2 seconds, now you'll see where the everything becomes a little bit. Once you get the hang of it, everything becomes a little bit more user friendly. Because now, remember I set the scope, I aligned it to Cave, the star here. So we're polar aligned, and now stellarium is scope is talking to the mount, who's telling stellarium and putting a little reticle on the screen where it thinks the mount is. So for now, if I say, right, I want to go to that star there, and in stellarium it's control 1. And off it goes, it's bang on to that. Now, one of the things you can do, if it wasn't set, we can move the mount manually using the handset so that it's dead center into the back of the camera or the screen, your finder scope, whatever, so it's bang in the center. And once you've done that, we can hit Control 3, which synchronizes the mount to stellarium. So from that moment, when you move somewhere else, it should be pretty much in the center of the screen. If I hit the Worts Galaxy, right up, it's not Worts Galaxy, no, it's further up than that. M106, one of my favourites, Control 1, and the mount goes off, pretty accurately actually, beep, and off it goes. So that's the goal. One of the things that it's a lifesaver, it's so much time saving, and also, quite frankly, you could work it with a bit of cabling and a bit of thought, so that you can be inside in the warm doing it. That's that part of it. I haven't switched the camera on. Let me just plug it in a minute. They're a bit smaller. Right. One of the things we can do. So now we've aligned our mount using stellarium to our target with M106. We can move those out of the way, and we could, for example, we could add open astrophotography tool.
Camera connected.
It's set up to auto detect the DSLR, which I've put on. So I've plugged it in, DSLR, and okay, we're looking at my into my log cabin at the moment. So there's an example of the cameras now, the live view in the software. So from here, it's a question of learning APT, bit of plate solving, bit of targeting, and away you go. Well, I won't be able to do it because I'm not.
Telescope connected.
This just connects straight to the scope, so it's connected to our smartEqpro, ioptron. That's it. Once we've done that, we're off on a roll now. See, that all looks fine.
Telescope disconnected.
Oh, lost that. pretty basic. Go away, pretty basically what we're at now. Still guiding away here. If I just gave the camera a bit of a tug. If I go back to menu, 2-0 position, it should target itself back a little bit better than it was earlier. It will now. It'll go back to where we started from, beginning. Spot on. So now we're ready for our packing up, setting up, ready for our next thing. Spot on, that is. It's not overly important that anyway. The most important thing is your polar alignment. If you can get that polar alignment as good as possible, then you'll get longer exposures and better quality stars, especially in the corners and what have you. Because later on, once you get into astrophotography tools and things like that, then you'll be doing plate solving, in which case you won't need any of this, because once you're polar aligned, you just move the scope a little bit, select an object, a target that you want to go to, and the plate solving will sort all that out for you. Sounds easy, but it's a bit fiddly. Once you've got it going, it is relatively pretty up and running. I have actually, on this, if you look on this adapter, I've actually got a little adapter clamp thing on the ring that I can put a pole scope or a guide scope on. As an example, 2 sets on my just so happens we've got a little guider here. So for example, this is an Altair mini guider which could fit on there quite nicely. And as I say, guiding on this mount, as I put my little guide scope, it's on the clamp now, you cable like this, which is an SD4 cable, which fits nicely into the guide camera, and this is where this piece comes in handy, because it, get it around the right way, that fits into the mount. So I think I'm running out of USB cables here. Then the guider, 2 sets, and another cable. There's one. This is where it gets a bit, you need to get a bit imaginative with cables. So we have normally you'd have a USB hub around here somewhere, but I'm just plugging it straight into my PC at the moment. Then, once that's connected, that'll start the camera, because it just runs off USB, this one, little guide camera. If I can get that in. Thank you very much. And you've probably heard a lot about PhD2 and all that. Sounds a bit dodgy, that, doesn't it? That's in my computer here. So we connect server connected. Need to get the correct mount next to the mount. connected on camera, it should say somewhere. It's a long time since I've done this to all guiding. Oh, I know where it is. That's fine. It's an Altair camera. Oh, I can't remember how to do it. Anyway, you have to. I don't want to do it because it will. Don't need that bit. It's down here on camera. Now it will connect. Now it will connect. So we don't guide the mount via the mount. We guide the mount via the camera. So now the camera is connected to the mount to the computer. Should come out quite bright, that. Yeah. So it's looping the inside of my shed. Which is quite not in the field of view. There aren't many stars there. So boom. Normally once that's set up, then we can hit, it'll loop, that'll stop, go away, and that'll go green, and we can hit the green button for kick off. Let's cancel that. Stop. Disconnect. Disconnect. Because it's got to be set to that, ready for my next. Video. So yeah, so that's a way of, so we can go off. So we can go off guiding. Which was rubbish because it was not on screen. But so there it is. We light up PhD2, connect to our things. In this instance, because we're using ST4, we don't have, it doesn't control through the mount. We do it through on camera there. The camera now will control, will send pulse, send guiding signals to the mount to keep it on track based on what it's looking at. We can loop it, like I said just a second ago, which is that's the inside of my shed, which there are no stars. That's all there is to it, really. And then normally once it's set up, it'll find, you go auto select a star, doink, it'll click on a star and then press go, and away. Guiding sorted. I wish it was that easy. Once it's set up, it is. It's not a problem at all then. I'll close that down and put it back how it was, otherwise I was looking for an SD4 lead, but I've actually got one, so we're okay on that. Yeah, that's a run through. I mean, it's been a bit long-winded and a bit my usual manic sort of run through it all, but at least it gives you a flavour and a throw of what's capable and what it's all about. It looks a bit of a mess cable wise because I'm indoors and I'm having to make do, but normally you set it all up so it's all neat and tidy. As I say, you can always give me a shout and I'll help you out if I can, whoever you are. Well, that's the smarteq, and as I say, it's aptly named because it is smart. And once you've got it connected to stellarium like this, it takes all the angst out of it, especially after you started with a star adventurer where you're fumbling around trying to find a blooming target. At least with this, you'll get within the ballpark, and it's just a matter of, well, once you've got alignment set up and running, the sky's your oyster. You'll be up there shooting all day, all night long. Well, that's the theory. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think I've covered most of the bits on here. Pitfalls as well. As I say, if you can find one of these, or adapt a seagull one that you've got, you're in clover, because it's so much easier just looking through. Doesn't it? What's that one say? 1 1/4 or 2.5 times. 1 1/4 is plenty, because the reticule, the polar alignment little reticule clock that's printed on the inside there is absolutely brilliant. You can download an app that'll GPS on your phone and tell you exactly where Polaris is in relation to the dial in here, and you just tweak the knobs until you get it roughly in the right, well, as accurately as you can in the right spot. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5. You know, it's just like clock of the face of a clock. So it's just a matter of getting it in the right position. Once it's done, that's it. Tracking away all night. Peace. Good stuff. As I say, I'm around if you need me. Give me a shout. Cheers for now.